Uh-oh. Here it comes. Yeah, well, the Worship and Arts Group, thought it would be a really good idea to have talks about our legacy. So this is a talk about my legacy. And as I put in there, it's a legacy without a leg to stand on. And, the definition of that, I looked it up. It means, they're just questionable as to the truth of everything that I have to say here, but we'll give it a try and see if you guys buy it. So, I always have show and tell kind of stuff. And I got up this morning and it did.
Okay.
It should be okay. I made those a few years ago. And I found them. So, usually I like to start out by talking about kind of what I thought about to get started on this. And back when I was, I believe, 15, we had to be confirmed in the Methodist Church. And our Reverend was Reverend Klaus, Claus. And we never thought of him as Santa Claus. He was kind of tough. And he came into our confirmation meeting, which is a group maybe half as large as this. And then he went around. It was time to make the pledge. And the pledge was to not smoke or drink. And I pledged not to smoke and drink. Of course, it came to me and I said, I pledge, I will not smoke and drink. And of course, I didn't have my fingers crossed. I was just lying through my teeth. And because we'd already snuck around and tried stuff, and then the guy next to me, John Ellinger, he's a really smart kid. His dad was a doctor, medical doctor, and his mom was the president of the AAUW. So they were really smart people. And the local AAW, but when it came to him, he said, I'm not taking the pledge. Furthermore, I don't believe in God. And I think all Reverend Klaus did was just say next. There wasn't, it was a hard one. But, it affected me because I realized the difference between integrity and not integrity. And I was the one that had no integrity, and he was the one who had integrity as he decided to tell his truth. Now, and he ended up as a teacher at Carleton College, which was a very prestigious college in Minnesota. So he made it, and he probably ended up in atheist heaven for eternity. Now, there's nothing wrong with the pledge. I think the Methodist Church really worked on the problem of alcoholism in the United Kingdom and in the United States. And it was important. But the part that really got me was that I don't believe in God. So then I had to work on that in my head for a number of years. And and so I just want to talk about, how the difference between, our mythology that we have in our Christian tradition, and then this reality that keeps impinging upon us. And so I drew these two pictures, and you know, this is our mythology. And, you know, I just looked up some years, you know, 4,000 years ago, Adam and Eve. And then 3,000 years ago was Noah. 2,000 years ago was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob doing their stuff. And then Moses came along with the commandments, getting the Jewish people out of Egypt. And then this is the David and Goliath, about 1,000. Yeah, and you know, so then our story is that, you know, there was a baby sent down to the earth. And this is a stork, okay? You know, and so then this was the father, and the father sent this into the earth, back down to the earth. And the earth was the only earth there was, according to, you know, our understanding. And then between 0 and 33, a man lived there and said things and walked on water, and then he was brought up at the end of 33 years when he was executed, back to sit on the right hand of the Father. And that's the story. Now, I was this information about reality, about the universe, I got all of this from the Daily Journal. So you know, this is stuff that's available to anybody. And you know, this is the known. This was something that just, you know, popped out that really was kind of a mind-blowing thing. You know, we have a known universe, and the known universe has a radius of 46.5 billion light years. And the two of them together are 93 billion light years. And you know what's right in the middle? Earth. We're in the middle. You know, the Webb telescope, it looks out that way and it sees as far as it can, and that's 46. And then it looks that way, it's the same, and that way it's the same. There's stuff coming in. So, but then there was another story. Well, you know, and in this universe is dark matter and matter. And at certain places within there's black holes. And I thought maybe, you know, the black hole, everything goes into the black hole, light and matter. And then maybe it just sits there, or maybe it pops out in a different universe or whatever. But then they said, no, the Webb telescope discovered that out of the black hole was plasma shooting out, which is some kind of matter, got kind of like a hot cloud just shooting out. But it was 140 times the width of the Milky Way. It's a big, long, you know, this stuff that's coming back into the, you know, into the black hole is coming out and recreating the universe that we know. And then when you think about it, you know, this universe, because the unknown universe is infinitely large, our known universe relative to it is infinitely small. And it's just amazing what we've learned about this universe. And so then you come back over here, you know, and what is this? What's, you know, this is a story about, well, it's a story about the universe that was known by them. And so then, you know, what is the story that helps us to understand sort of both of these realities? This is a reality of living on behalf of others. And this is in this huge universe where whatever we do doesn't seem maybe even to matter because it's so small. But then, you throw it back on yourself and it's, talking about my legacy, I think my legacy is to draw pictures like this. Maybe, maybe it was the furnace, but the furnace isn't working. So it's got to be something like this. There's kind of pictures, and then I put on the bulletin the picture of the crazy triangle, on the front. And that's just, another way of I think of describing me in the middle of the universe. It's just because it's got on the left-hand corner, it's knowing. And the description of knowing is integrity. We have to be finding the truth with our knowing and not just spouting off a bunch of hooey, which we hear going on. And then at the top it's being, and that's just our striving for serenity is, to me, is what that's all about, is trying to find some serenity in our lives. And through meditation, through mindfulness, through thinking things through, contemplating, we just work on that. But we have to have come out, to me, out of the truth. We can't go into this stuff without struggling with getting to the truth for ourselves that makes sense in the whole picture of things. And then how do we move into doing? And first of all, we have to understand prayer, and we have to understand ethics, and we have to then understand what it means to be called to do something with our lives. And out of that, then our action can take place in conjunction with others, with the community. And so that I've sort of got that triangle memorized as to, so that in my daily whatever, I kind of know where I am in the thing. Or I'm just out of it, that's a possibility. But just, I wanted to add one more thing, and that is that the first part I was going to do, I was going to rewrite the 10 Commandments as my legacy. But I could only come up with 8. And then this morning I came up with the 9th. Okay, and I'll just read these real quick. That is, number 1, recognize the singularity of the mystery, dynamic, powerful, infinite universe we are given to act in. So it's this singularity of it. Number 2, honor this mystery with the decision to love life as life presents itself to you. Number 3, seek and receive possibilities even as life provides dreadful limits. Number 4, live your style of life as though life itself depends on you. Those are the 4 about the mystery. And then we go into, these, the 5th through the 8th. The first one is embrace life as a family of being and never as war. Number 6, struggle to find truth about yourself and about all that is in the universe. Number 7, carry out life as caring intentionality as best you can. Number 8, Own what you must and use your wealth as if it is a debt owed to others. And then I added the ninth, find and bring joy in your life if you can. So that's it. That's it. And it, you know, for those of you who are new here, this is, I'm one of the members, and every once in a while, one of the members gets to give a talk. And then we get to spend like day and night and worrying and thinking and writing and changing our minds and stuff. Whereas, like Jorge can just stand up and just give, he's got it right there. Anyway, thank you for listening. And do you have questions or comments?
Well, I have to start off with, John approached me before the service and said, don't correct me, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So, I want to know, are you gonna submit your 9 commandments as somewhere to publish it? Because you should. It's really well thought out.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be on the front page of our website.
Oh, okay.
The 9 commandments.
The 9 commandments. Okay. Janice.
Laughter is so important that we don't even think about.
Yeah.
But that was fantastic. Yeah, and I love the illustration, but I think we should go for that.
When I have time. Yeah. Thank you, though. Thanks, Janice. Yeah, Polly.
I love this picture of the known universe and the unknown universe because it seems to me that what science is about is moving the boundary of that certainty. Always there is more known, and you can put people in 2 camps, either the folks who think that one day it will all be known.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And those who are content to say, I don't think we're ever going to get there. There will always be unknown universe. There will always be mystery. God lives out there. Your friend in the confirmation class who said, I don't believe in God, shame on that pastor for not engaging him. Because that was a wide open invitation to have a serious conversation, starting with what is God to you? What do you mean by God? Because I bet they didn't have even the same definition. So of course, how sad that he just went right. I had this similar experience in a confirmation class, putting a question out there and getting the answer. Well, if you don't understand it, just believe.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, this is great. No universe and unknown. And I'm on the side there. Make that circle as big as you want. It's never going to be it. There will always be mystery.
Yeah.
And it will always be.
Yeah. Rich.
Position of the earth there, because it occurs to me that the center of the universe is actually the human ego.
Yes.
Actually, what?
The human ego is the center of the universe.
Okay, Roy and then Kathy.
I'm struck that you have 2 pictures there, a triangle and a circle. And there's on the cover here, we have this triangle.
Yeah.
And I was really looking at it before the service, and I'm thinking, gosh, I know there's another one that's a circle. And it would have, in its circle, it would have feelings and sensations and love and healing and resilience and a bunch of more feminine, aspects to it. So I think that the 2, you need both, so they kind of go together. You have a dance going on.
Kaji.
So, yes, thank you. What you said, when you expressed today, John, was
You're trying to get the answers of what we think we need the answers to. It's a human ego, like Holly says, trying to drive saying we know it. And it's nice that we portray all of this illusion of what we think we know and present it with your 9 commandments. And from those 9 commandments, I've got the gist of it. It's all about acceptance. Every single one of them, you read through all of them, is acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. Lightening up, accepting, and letting go. And I'll give credit to Jen, she was reading acceptance. Yeah, acceptance. Out of the 9, I think about 7 of them hammer on acceptance. Everything. You don't know? Acceptance. And these little stick figures we show this. Amazing. On mythology. Acceptance. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve,
It's okay to have a big ego as long as you're not egotistic.
as long as you're not, what?
It's okay to have a big ego as long as you're not egotistical.
Oh. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Yes.
I think
Well.
you have a gift. You know, you have a gift for teaching and weaving in humor with the teaching, which is, I mean, it's just so refreshing to have that. And we're all laughing, and I was laughing at like, this is all true, but it was, you know, the delivery, and I was thinking, why am I finding this so funny, right? You know, because it's really good teaching, and I love that you did these, you know, these 2 posters, and this was so needed. I mean, this was so needed after that just jarring scripture, you know what I mean? You know, like, that's sweet. You know, because, oh God, you know, that's just, you know, so this was just so amazing. And so, you know, I just wrote down a question for myself out of what you were talking about is, you know, what am I called to do in my life? And that is such a struggle for many of us. You know, and what am I called to do? And recently, I have been looking at that and going, you know, I'm called to do the thing that I'm doing right now. And because this is the thing I've chosen to do, it is the thing that I'm called to do in this moment. And then feel into the next moment and be, what am I called to do in the next moment? Rather than trying to have this big picture, right? Sometimes life can only be lived moment to moment, obviously, but a lot of times we live life with a projection of what we're going to do in 5 years or 10 years, or the idea of having a master plan, which is fine. However, life is lived now. Life is only lived now. And so I'm trying to just be in the place of what am I called to do right now, in the next moment, literally in the next minute, in the next, you know, few minutes or days. And I love your commandments, by the way. I want copies of those. I think those are amazing. They are so well thought out, and they are really profound. So I love to, you know, I love to see those in print. John's 10 Commandments, right? 9, but you know, you might come up with a 10. You don't have to be like Moses and have 10. I mean, you can have 9 or 12. You know.
Okay. Yes, and your name is?
My name is Jackie. How are you?
Oh, yeah.
I appreciated you bringing this today, and I think the first thing about the simplicity of your drawing, I think it makes it really digestible because you could have stood up with a PowerPoint and really made it just like so relatable, digestible, and like human. So that was the first thing that I appreciated. With your No Universe 2024 reality picture, about the vastness of the universe that we'll never understand, the unknown versus the known universe. It can make one go crazy to think about these things. They're very abstract. And we come back to the simplicity, and what I truly appreciated is that one of your gifts is that you connected with us and what you spoke to. And you made it like on our level. But in that piece as well, you helped us enter into your consciousness and what you believe to be true and your growing edges. And that reminds me of where I am and what I've decided to pursue in my life with mental health. And I have the gift of entering into many people's consciousness. And that I think is a calling for me, but I felt that with you, as I was able to enter into your consciousness. So thank you for that gift today.
Thank you. Thank you. No, Eva? Okay. All right.
Thank you. John.
Great, thank you.